nice. It's nice here.
Hello, we got Pierre Etienne.
Yes, I'm here.
Bonsoir.
Bonsoir.
Hello.
Should I
Hi,
go to
Pierre.
the sofa?
Yes, please
Go
have a
to
seat
the
on the
sofa,
sofa.
yeah.
Yeah, and we're just
Otherwise,
waiting
you're
for
standing on
Colby.
top of my colleague, you know.
Okay, I'm trying to do it.
Just tap on it.
Yeah, you just have
On
you
your
don't have to
screen.
drag. You just tap where you want to go.
Just tap on it with your finger.
Okay.
That's it. Good
Tap
man.
to the location, not to the person. So
Yeah, I was trying to do the same thing.
Yeah, you can tap on the person if you want to, but it's not that kind of a show.
No. We don't want to do that.
Maybe later. Yeah.
It's nice. It's a nice set. I should go back.
Yeah, careful with your, wandering fingers. But you're from Paris, so you've got an excuse.
Thank you. Everything is fine with the sound for you?
Yeah, listen, have you got your headphones on or no?
Yes, I got my AirPods. Yeah.
Good man.
Okay, Sean, I believe we can start. Colby is joining. Okay, Colby is here. Hi, Ryan. Please have a seat on the sofa. Thanks for being on time. I believe we can open the room and start.
There's not much diversity in this panel today. So, Inna, you should stay on the stage, Otherwise, it's all dudes on the stage. Colby, how's it going?
It's going really well. How are you doing?
Mustn't grumble, Look excited about having you guys here. Nice to meet you, by the way.
Yeah, me too. This is cool. I like the setup. This is pretty fun.
Yeah, it's nice.
So you're enjoying the networking in the Metaverse then?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, like never a dull day, I will tell you.
This is not one of those spaces or clubhouses or LinkedIn, Malak. And owners and enthusiasts involved in crypto use cases such as Metaverse, NFTs, and DeFi. So today we have a fantastic panelist, an incredible topic. But before I go into introducing our speakers, I'll just go over some housekeeping rules. Your thoughts, feel free to question our speakers at any point. You've got a button at the bottom that allows you to ask to come to the stage. Feel free to tap on each of us avatars and connect with us directly. I think it's important that we are making the right connections. So yes, if there are any questions, we've got our colleagues that will help you. For those who haven't filled in their profiles yet, after the show, please make sure you fill in your profile so we know who you are. So yeah, let's proceed. We've got a great panelist. I could sing their praises all day long, but I will allow them to do it themselves. So Andy, first come, first served. Why don't you start?
Okay, yeah,
Tell us a little bit about yourself.
Yeah, I'm Andrew Gopswiz. I'm an economist. I work at Nameless and NFT 42 kind of group of companies. And I write and comment about the NFT market, and I tweet about stuff as zinc.eth on Twitter. So yeah, I'm just happy to be here.
Fantastic. Pierre Etienne, je voudrais parler avec Pierre Etienne.
Yeah,
Tell us
merci
a little bit yourself.
No, merci pour le français. Thank you very much for inviting me tonight. I am Pierre-Etienne Pommier. I am the CEO and founder of Arago. Arago is an NFT studio. Our goal is to build, to tokenize, to help brands and media to get tokenized, so to enter both the, and we'll talk about that, the NFT world and also the metaverse world. And we started by doing our own experience, and we launched in December a photo gallery dedicated to photography, and everything is built on Tezos, which is a sustainable blockchain. For us, it's very important to focus on sustainable development and have some input on this exciting environment of the NFT and the metaverse that bring really hope in a better world.
Brilliant. Coldy.
Hello, everybody. Yeah, my name is Coldy. I'm a crypto artist. I started in 2017, and I've kind of been along the journey since kind of the early days of Ethereum NFTs. I've in the process grown a collection by reinvesting my art earnings back into other artists, and that also includes getting places in the metaverse, and kind of just growing my brand through family and community. And I've met a lot of people, and it's just been a wild journey. And I love experimenting, and a lot of my tokens are on actually everything's on the Ethereum blockchain.
Great. Listen, I'm going to start with you, Coldy, because myself, I'm a founder of the NFT club here on Connect.Club. It's the first NFT Connect Club here. I'm also, managing, chairing the Metaverse Builders Club. By the way, I do encourage you to tap on my avatar, and there are a number of clubs. I'm a member of a number of clubs. Please join the same clubs, especially relating to the NFTs. But Coldy, I want to come back to you. You arguably Super Rare's most successful artist, going back to 2018. But the journey hasn't been so easy for you, has it? What was the life like before all this blockchain and digital woo-ha? Did you have to spend lots of time watermarking your work and struggling? I believe your son was born also at the time. So as a father myself, I understand there is a lot of challenges that comes with that.
Yeah, that's a really good question. Yeah, so you kind of nailed it. Yeah, leading up before blockchain, I've been making art for 10 years. What my passion and like my purpose in art is with stereoscopics. So I'm always doing I've shot 3D concert photography since 2010. So I built my own 3D camera with 2 lenses, and I got to shoot like some of the biggest rock bands in the world. So I've always been hopping around between different projects that fascinate me, but at the same time, there's up until recently, there was not a real big community to show this stuff to, because there wasn't an audience built in that knew about stereoscopics or how to view these things. So I was shooting photography back in 2009, and then up through there, I've always been just fascinated with 3D, like 3D glasses art, lenticulars, which is a way of doing art, physical art that has a lens on top of it where you can look at it and it pops out at you. And I just learned those crafts over the last 10 years, really just for myself. I would do art walks. I would, get into gallery shows when I, had a chance. But like you're saying, I was watermarking images. I was trying to promote my stuff, but there was not a community that was like super vibrant. A lot of people appreciated it, but I was just making because that's what I have to do as an artist. I just make things. And I have to tell you, as soon as, it was 2018 and I typed in blockchain art, because I had no other idea how I would be able to do my part for the growing ecosystem of blockchain. I just knew that I could make art. And through that, I found Super Rare. And there's even a platform before that called Rare Art Labs that's no longer around. So I've definitely been through the gauntlet and I've been a guinea pig, and I've experimented all along the way. And like you said, life is concurrently happening. I had a child in the process of it, and I was literally, working a full-time job with a kid and then doing art after that. So I was burning the candle at both ends for years. And it was through that, I was thriving because the resource time for making art was so limited that I would basically think about what I was going to do at nighttime when I had, an hour of free time. And that really drove me to push my creativity to whatever level I couldn't think of. It was kind of like fight or flight, and I had to just manifest the best things I could. So it was kind of like all of life's circumstances put me in a state where I allowed myself to thrive and like become my better self. So it's been a wild ride for sure.
I'm actually personally, I'm really fascinated by your story. Definitely would love to know a little bit more about your experience. I'll come back to it later. Andy, evidently you are the first bank analyst that joined the sector last year. What were you smoking, and can I have some of that?
Yeah, I was working at like a very traditional bank here in Canada as an economic commentator, writing reports on the economy as a labor economist before. Obviously, it was a very exciting time for an economist in general because we had COVID and all the things that came along with that. But, because we were at home, got a little more excited about, some crypto stuff, had more time to think about it, started collecting NFTs, really started thinking about NFTs as kind of one of the kind of killer apps of
you collected your first
NFT
in 2020, if I understand it correctly.
Well, I minted a Block Cities in 2019, just dabbling. But 2020 is when I really started getting involved heavily. And so it just really excited me, and I just love being in the space. I love how social it is, like what Coldy was saying. Like it's just very community oriented and very invested communities. Like that's another big thing. Like if you're on Instagram or other places, people will see your work and people will see stuff, but there's just so much attention. But if you're invested in something, you start paying attention to it a lot more, start thinking about related stuff a lot more. And so then I, was still working and had a good conversation with Jimmy Vanellis and at NFT 42, and we kind of created this position to start thinking about the economy.
Is it really true you just tweeted him?
Yeah, well, we were talking. We kind of knew each other a little bit on Twitter, not too much, but we just started talking on Twitter and some DMs, and then had a couple calls, and and we started to put together our little thought leadership economic commentary group here at NFT 42 that we're just getting off the ground. We have a newsletter, Metanomics, now, and it's really exciting. So it was a big jump because you're right. Like before, very safe job. Everyone kind of knew what I did. It was kind of the type of job that someone, gets the education that I get, this kind of job that you kind of want to have in the end. And this is a huge stab in the dark, but, I kind of really think that this is just an exciting space. I just wanted to be a part of it somehow.
Yeah, I love that. One of the members of our community is a chap, he's also from Canada actually, but based out of South Korea. And he was telling me that back in 2017, when he approached his employer at the time, Samsung, and was telling him about NFTs, because obviously NFTs has been around for almost a decade, or more than a decade now. And he was telling them about this concept. They thought that he was, lost his marbles. And then he approached Hasbro and Mattel, the toy manufacturers, with the same idea, and again they just turned him down. But now they calling him and telling him, and he's milking them on a consulting business. Pierre Etienne, you've got a new project going on now. Am I understanding it correctly? You kind of realize what benefits of NFTs in the photo market specifically.
Yes, I mean, we launched the first gallery in December, and it's like a learning process for us because we had no experience before of what an online NFT gallery would be. And the idea at the beginning of Arago was to use NFT and digital ownership to solve a couple of problems that we have identified in the photography art market. And one of them is that you can guarantee with NFT the number of prints attached to of editions attached to a photo. And we realized this was quite a big problem in the, let's say, the real world, because when you go to a gallery, you buy a photo and they say, oh, there are going to be only like 3 or 4 editions, and sometimes you find out that there are many more editions. So we found NFT, and the digital ownership is a solution, is a technical solution to improve that, and could really make it a safer place for collectors to invest, and also for photographers to really make a living from their art. But we realize it's not enough. Like the technology is not enough. What really and it's people don't buy technology for technology. They are looking for solutions. They are looking for experiences. And it took quite a lot of time to realize that what really NFTs are. They are of course about digital ownership, but they are about communities. And it took some time for me to understand what real communities are, because I have a background in media and politics, so I know what the audience is. I know how to talk to people who watch TV, or how to talk to people who are going to vote for you. But what does that mean, owning an NFT? And I think that this is, and we are still learning about this process, and this is how we are a bit like switching the Arago project, is to be a bit more focused on the community, which means basically you don't only have the ownership of a token, it's the idea of the co-ownership. So people want to get involved in the creative process, and basically photographers and artists who don't understand that will never succeed in the NFT market. People who are not ready to give as well as they receive, they will never really succeed in the NFT market, as well as collectors who just follow the chart and want to just make short-term money. They are not the people who are going to make good investment in art. So everything is around building communities. I think it's the biggest things we've learned recently, and of course we are going to build a strong platform, and our goal is to make NFT really easy to use and purchase. Therefore, you can pay in euro or dollars. You don't need to have a wallet. So we disconnect the NFT from the crypto. I would say the crypto bullshit, sort of like so, because there's something different. But if you don't think about communities, you don't really understand what NFTs are.
Okay, I understand you actually quite selective in terms of photographers, the artwork, the genre. Is that correct for your project?
Because it's a little bit confusing. I mean, anybody. We take 3 billion photos per day, and if you have an open marketplace where anybody can sell photo, it can create a lot of problems, like even legal problems. And we have seen that on OpenSea, where people are selling pictures from other people. So we need to have a curation. We need to have a curators, and we also need to have an editorial view. And our first selection was with really photographers I love, and some of them I've known for a long time. And it was quite high end. The prices are really high, and we are going to switch to have let's call that a junior gallery, but an offer that is going to be a little bit more, much more affordable. Where basically this is something we've seen on Ikettnunk with on the Tezos platform. It's closed now, but it's really interesting to see that you see young artists collecting from other artists. And so as to do that, you really need to, we want people in their 20s to be able to buy their first NFT and photography. And so the price have to be a little bit lower. And in terms of style, we are also a little bit going to target the Generation Z, and people who are with a different style, and focus also on music and fashion, and a new generation of photographers and collectors.
Yeah.
Sean, you're muted.
Sorry, apologize. I was just saying that what I like about Coldy's approach in his journey is when we talk about the value of collecting, he kind of looked at the sort of issues that could affect collectors, even when it comes to the time zone discrepancies. What's the Coldy method? Can you tell us a little bit about that?
Yeah, sure. So the Coldy method was, we're talking 2018, selling on super rare. Back then, there was no auction mechanism. So what would happen is you mint an artwork and bids would come in, but there was no way to kind of democratically select a winner. It was kind of up to the artist to say, that's enough, and they would hit accept. And that was working for a while, but then at a certain point, you would have 2 or 3 people that wanted it. So who am I to say who gets it? So I had to, on my toes, come up with some solution. And I wasn't sure if it was just going to be one time. And I came up with this method where, the beginning of it is a standard auction with a reserve price. We've seen those on eBay. That's a very standard way of doing it. So let's say for number's sake, 1 Ether was the reserve price. So I would state that, and I would state it on Twitter. There was nothing inside of Super Rare to do this. So most of the community was in Twitter, and that was my sounding board. So I would say, hey, this artwork has a reserve price of 1 Ether. Once the Ether price is reached, I manually start a 24-hour clock. And if no other bids come in that day, that person wins. If a new bid comes in that 24 hours, it resets the clock for a new fresh 24 hours. So another full day for each new bid. And
that's smart, huh? Well done.
Well, yeah. And the reason I did it was, collectors are pretty savvy people. So you're always looking for a way up on the other guy. So what I saw happening was people would place bids, or they would come and offer me things at times that other people were sleeping. So I saw that game, and I didn't really appreciate that from being an equal marketplace. So I decided that if I give people a whole full day, you could go to work, you could take care of your family, you can do whatever you need to do during the day, and you can think about it, and you can decide if you wanted to place a new bid. And that really leveled out the playing field, and to such an extent that some of the collectors who were trying to get over on others got pretty angry at me. And there was a couple people who, after that point, actually just one person, I won't name any name, but this person decided to never.
Let's name it. Again. It's closed door.
I would love to,
no,
but I called out some people, and I wanted it to be fair, because we're building a new paradigm here. So why are we going to play by the old games, right? So I wiped those away, and I had some people come to me upset because their Ether was quote unquote locked up while they were bidding on my art. And I made it very clear to them that if you were not willing to hold your Ether for 1 day to buy my art, you might not really want to be buying my art. Maybe I wasn't the right guy for you, and I did that because I wanted to weed out the flippers from the start. And this really made them take a step back and think, am I investing in art, or am I speculating and flipping in art? And for myself, the collectors that I want to engage with and have future relationships with are collectors. I understand both sides of it. I collect as well, but I make my art from my heart, right? And when I connect with people who are on that same level and they love the art, that's who I want to own it. So these types of mechanisms weeds out a lot of those unsavory people who are just going for a quick 20% flip. We go somewhere else. There's plenty of ways to make 20% flips in crypto art. I'm not that guy, right? So I kind of set the tone, and it worked. And now there's platforms that have adopted it. It's become, a thing in the space that artists ask for with platforms. And I'm honored. It was simply an experiment because I needed a way to get out of selecting people and let the market decide. And this was perfect. It got me out of the way. No one could get angry. They had time, and it worked. I got lucky on that one.
Well done. Well done.
Thank you.
Listen, I've got a question for Andy. All this woo-ha that's happening, all this trend, NFTs become $25 billion market in 2021. But it's all associated with all these immersive technologies and things like that. I'm sure a lot of people, especially the artists that I'm speaking to on a daily basis, they're kind of almost scared of it. So is it possible to get into sort of a digital collectible market without having some kind of a technological brains or understanding?
Oh yeah, definitely. I think like the right way to think about it, we're like kind of early days, like you would think early days in the internet. Early on in the internet, you'd have to be somewhat technically savvy to be able to get online, to set up a blog, to set up a place to, even sending emails and things like this. Like, there are a lot more steps. But that didn't stop writers from coming in and creating, an online brand as a writer or other media creators coming in. You didn't have to always know every aspect of the technology. And of course, like now, because of crypto, sometimes things can be, if you transfer something that's final, there's a lot, it can be a pretty harsh marketplace. So you should be aware of what can and can't go wrong. But like shouldn't really stop you from experimenting with things. And the tools are starting to be developed where you don't even need to really know anything about smart contracts or know anything about crypto even to be able to create an NFT. Many of these platforms you're able to mint, and it's a no-code process and use their contracts. There's companies that come in that are producing no-code solutions. Like we have creating some no-code solutions. Manifold has their own no-code solutions. And so like I think that the space is getting a little bit more friendly to people that aren't necessarily crypto savvy. And I think we're also starting to see that separation between the crypto world where prices in Bitcoin and Ether can be moving up and down. People can be worried about what's happening on that space. And then the NFT world is completely oblivious. In this recent period, last month, NFTs seem to be, just in this never-ending upward trajectory, irregardless of what's happening in the crypto space. And so, yeah, I don't think, just like anything, I don't think you don't have to be technologically savvy, but you probably want to know a few things. And I think also too, like just it really depends on what you're using the blockchain for, right? So I think, if you're a digital artist and you wanted the ability to create digital scarcity, you don't need to use watermarks and things like that, then yeah, that's perfect to use a simple minting contract to create an NFT that has your digital art on it that you can then trade that token. But if you want to, there's other artists that are treating the blockchain itself as a medium. And so then we're seeing, interesting experiments over a longer period that, really require really detailed understanding of how blockchain works. And so of course, there's going to be a huge spectrum there in terms of what sort of things artists can do with the technology.
Okay, so let me throw the questions out for all of you. What do you think contributed to NFTs to become the biggest crypto success in 2021? Andy, come on, let's start with you.
I'll go first. Well, I think it was just kind of the perfect storm. Like we had 2020 was this rise of decentralized finance, which created, I think, a lot of internal wealth for crypto native people. And then, we have NFTs have been around for some time, and the people that were involved in it, it's a very sticky technology. People who get involved in it just kind of stick with it. And it is very addicting. And this new crypto wealth, kind of found this technology in early 2021, and I think just ran with it. And we're starting to see like, we had that huge influx of all that wealth. And then, by the end of the year, we got so much mainstream attention. I think that people from outside are now looking in. And it also is one of those stepping stones into the crypto world where Bitcoin and Ethereum can seem kind of financy and too harsh, not really maybe that interesting to the typical people, but everyone loves culture and everyone loves owning art. And everyone is online. And so I think, it's becoming this gateway into kind of crypto and on the other end. So anyways, that's my thoughts.
Yeah, Jan, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, I think I mean, of course, there was all the crypto bubble or NFT bubble, but what we're really focusing on is real purpose. And we saw two examples. One is, I don't know if you're familiar with this French company called Sorare, but they are like they sold for 300,000 million last year. So people are buying tokens. They are like soccer cards, but people are massively buying tokens. So we see that NFT can be a real game changer in particular in the entertainment industry. And so it's really powerful. Another example is maybe like more in the fashion industry, close to the metaverse. A little company called Artifacts. They were bought by Nike, and they are basically making.
We had Ken, head of product at Nike, the other day at the Friday NFT show. So yeah, we're very familiar with that story.
They sold for 100 million of virtual sneakers.
Yeah, so I'm not completely agree. They must have given a blank check to Artifact for them to agree to it, because a lot of people, I don't know if you know Amel from Fumigine, based in Paris as well. The most exquisite NFT marketplace. She's claiming built on Polygon. And was talking with Natalie as well at Neona, and they don't agree that artifacts shouldn't have been sold. But anyway, sorry.
I mean, that's another, but whatever. I mean, I'm not talking about like big people buying other people, but the thing is that people bought virtual sneakers. So we are more focusing on like people bought for $100 million of virtual sneakers, and this is how what made Artifact successful. And this is exactly what we are seeing now. The trend, I think we want to focus on digital assets, starting from art, but also media, and make them very popular. And this is the purpose of Arago. So people want to buy NFT, and they are already buying a lot of NFT, and it's really rapid in terms of acquisition. Like probably one of the fastest acquisition market we've seen in technology.
Do you know what? I think Coldy kind of had that vision back in the days when he first tokenized his artwork. Coldy, do you think the success of NFTs in 2021 it was kind of a bit obvious to a certain extent?
Yeah, I mean, when I was watching it for a little bit. I jumped in pretty quick. It kind of snapped in my head when I kind of put two and two together of technology and art together. And what I saw myself as, especially early on, was a use case provider, right? So as I tokenize an asset and I can sell it to somebody across the world 24/7, and breaking down all the barriers, especially with art, you don't have to pay for shipping, you don't have to pay for insurance, you don't have to pay for, all those things that the real world incurs in a transaction. It made a big difference. And I could extrapolate and be like, well, it's an asset. So, if art can be exchanged, what else can be exchanged? Literally anything. So it was important for a lot of us early crypto artists to be the guinea pigs and to prove it, because we knew there was industry on the sideline watching us, whether it was real estate, whether it was fashion, whether it was anything you could think of. Everything can be commoditized and a way to be tokenized. So as soon as I saw it work myself, I was mind blown and completely all in. And that's why I started collecting other people, because I knew this was real. And by the time the wave came through, 2018 was a bear market. So, we were working in the doldrums where nobody gave a shit about any crypto stuff. So we got to just create. And over those 2.5 years, by the time 2021
when you say
around,
was it like a bunch of artists that sat down and bounced some ideas? Is that what happened?
Yeah, there's a core group, and I have to give my hats off backwards before me. I am by no means the first NFT artist. There are Rare Pepes, Crypto Punks, Crypto Kitties, Spells of Genesis. There's a lot of people who paved the road. So I can never say that it was me, but collectively, especially in 2018 and moving forward, there is a very core group of artists that really we took a step back together to pave the path. And one of the things we did was, I believe it was in 2019, there's secondary commissions built into NFTs. So every time an NFT is sold on the secondary market, the minter, being the artist, gets a percentage return each time, which is a revolutionary change. Because you imagine the Picasso estate, when those things sell for hundreds of millions of dollars, the Picasso family is not getting anything anymore, right?
Yeah, I love that concept. It's almost like in a wealth management when you liquid assets become liquid, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
That has never happened, right? So, and all of us are artists. So we were looking ahead for the tens of thousands or millions of artists that would come down the path after us. And one of the things that happened early on was the platforms originally had adopted a 10% standard commission. And that was great. We were super happy with that. Well, something happened. At the time it was on Super Rare. They were growing super fast. No one really knew what was going on. We were all doing our best. They had changed their percentage down to 3%. And we collectively raised our hand and said, we don't agree with that. You know, I love Super Rare. They're great. But there was a group of us, and there was about 15 or so. We collectively created basically a manifesto, and we all signed it. And we said, hey, here is what crypto artists need as a bare minimum for the future. You know, and we said 10% across all platforms. That is the standard. You know, not just Super Rare. It was, you know, Known Origin, Maker's Place, Nifty Gateway, all of them. We said, hey, let's all work together. We're all nice people, but if you guys cannot meet us at 10%, we are no longer going to mint on your platforms. And so we put ourselves on the line. But we knew that if we didn't do that, things don't ever get better. They only get worse if you don't stand up. So we said, hey, it's 10% or we're all out. And we were the creative marketplace, right? And so the marketplaces then had to have a discussion also with the collectors, right? Because there was 3 different people involved. There was the marketplace, there were the collectors, and there were the artists. And we all had to basically sit down and come to an agreement that 10% is fair and the right thing to do. And that paved the way so that when this 2021 happened, a lot of those hurdles were taken care of, and we don't have to bring it up, but I'm honored to have been part of the group that took a stand early on so that it wasn't a friction. So people could come in and thrive, and the 10% is standard, right? But there was a time and a place where that was at jeopardy, and we had to put our foot down. And that in the annals of whatever I do with my life, that is a significant moment of pride that I can say we were all.
I can imagine. Yeah. Listen, let's open the stage. I know, guys in the audience, some of you have raised hands during the first part, but right now let's open the stage. If you got any questions for our host, please tap on that yellow button, come to the stage, ask the question. Do we have any volunteers? Any brave people? Okay, I'll give you some time to collect your thoughts, prepare your questions. Let me ask you this: are NFTs the future of art and collectibles, or is it just another bubble that's going to be burst soon? And if it is, how soon it's going to burst? Let's ask a researcher guy. You know, I think Andy's got some views on that.
So I think you know, we get kind of put in. We live in our little bubble sometimes where you know, NFTs are going to be the next big thing, the next thing they're going to take over the world. But it is important to know that people do like collecting physical art. People do
Pardon
like
me for interruption. When you say the next best thing, are you talking about mainstream adoption?
Yeah, but I mean, like, even if, like, I think all of us here probably think that NFTs are continuing. They're going to continue to grow, you know, tremendously, and that we're nowhere close to. We're just getting started. But I don't think it's in terms of like replacing art or collectibles or even video games or these things. But I think what, those categories are huge. Like art is traded like 50, 60 billion a year in fine art. And that's a really, really slower turnover. Like art isn't traded that even anywhere close to what art is traded in NFTs. And so, like we still have a long way to go even to matching, just the categories that already exist. But I think like the big thing that's exciting for me about NFTs is that it seems to create categories that didn't really exist before. So like if you think about, the early NFTs, a lot of it was digital art that people would post for free on Instagram or on Tumblr or these other social sites. And there'd be really no opportunity for them to monetize this. Like it'd be very hard for you. You maybe sell a commission for $10, $15. Maybe you work for a band for $100, something like that. And it'd be very difficult to get your artwork sold and for any reasonable amount. And NFTs, I think, created a way for people to, create true scarcity and true digital signature signing of art. And, then we see now people are perfectly comfortable spending millions of dollars on an NFT, right? They know it's not going to go away, and they know that there's some level of surety that that's the real thing. And so like that, creating that new category, I think is the really interesting thing. And I think we're going to see the same thing happen. We're going to see, people being able to tokenize performance art or installations. We're going to see people tokenizing fashion, so you don't have to go through necessarily, you don't have to have, you can have direct funding from fashion that's not just through merchandise. So I think that there's anything that I think has a difficulty selling in the physical world now. I think NFTs is going to be able to provide that technology to create those new markets, and I think that's like kind of where things were. The reason why it's growing so fast is because it's just carving things out of nothing basically right now. And so we're just seeing potential when people want to collect things and they're able to say, yeah, this is mine, and that's a market out of nothing. And I think that's the most exciting part.
Pierre-Etienne, what do you think? Is NFT the future of art and collectible?
It's maybe not the future, but it's a big part of the future, in particular among the.
See, I like it. Different view. Love it. Well done. I'm skeptical as hell,
the young
but
generation, I think it's cool. You can see like people in their 20s, they want to buy art because they want to buy things that are unique. They want to feel different. They want to feel connected to creation. And I think naturally they are going to be really attracted by NFTs, and not only NFTs, because hopefully they also go out and go to the movie and go and buy art in other space than the NFT space. But I truly think there's a huge potential in the Z generation for art, NFT, new art, and once again, I think it's really cool that you can see a mix between this community of collectors and also artists. And in particular in photography, you can see a lot of young photographers who collect photography and vice versa. So it's huge, and all these communities, they are all focused on like making better photo, like having creating new style and having a different look at the world around us. And I think this is what is probably the most exciting part, is when you see all these people who exchange this community, and the barriers between the collectors and the artists disappear. And for me, it's part of the magic of the NFT, and it's probably what is going to be the biggest driver in the NFT world, because once you've sold an NFT and once you've bought an NFT, you feel engaged, and you will do it again and again. And this is a big difference between this world and a gallery or a traditional art market.
See, you're somewhat skeptical, but very realistic and spot-on answer. Scared away Coldy. He ran away because he's an NFT consultant. I'm blaming you.
Sorry.
You should be, yeah. But again, to the audience, if you guys have any questions for our speakers, this is your chance. Please come up on the stage, ask anything you want. Just be polite as Andy. You know, take example from Canadians. They're always polite. So, all right then. So, okay, you talked about this photo market and PATN. Come on, I haven't got any Scooby-Doo ideas about this. So, what are the benefits of NFTs in this particular photo market?
They are huge because as opposed to crypto art, photo is not a digital art. It's made natively. It's made with a digital camera, but then you can duplicate it unlimited numbers of times. And really, what the NFT, the technology of the NFT, you can transform really a photography into unique number of editions. And I think this brings a lot of trust in the market. We have also, we make a link between the physical and the digital world, because when you buy a photo, you can display it on different screens, but you can also order a print from the photo. And there's the little QR code attached to the photo where you can have a link between the physical print you can have in your place and the token. So, because a lot of people still want to have to print the photo they collect, and one of the biggest thing also in terms of development is the NFT. When you buy the photo, you can manage how and where you can display this photo, and in particular, all these screens like the TV screens, the one made by Samsung, are incredible, and you rediscover photography when you see it on this type of screen. So it opens a lot of potential. Oh, it's back.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Sorry about that. Sorry.
No, it's all right. It was all understandable. I mean, you just missed the part when PATN was saying like he doesn't really like his NFT consultants, and you know, it's like it's never gonna happen. What's your view on that?
You know, it's actually funny. I look at it a couple different ways. I mean, as an artist, I was basically relegated to commercial design for my professional career. I didn't have a way to thrive as a digital fine artist, so I went into commercial art. I was an art director, I was a graphic designer. Those are all great things, but it wasn't feeding my soul. And as I got into NFTs, I met a lot of like-minded people who were also in the same shoes. And none of us thought that we could do it. You know, like we weren't trained as oil painters. You know, there were certain things that galleries understand. And part of that is tactile paint on canvas. And now that has changed. So by no means do I think NFTs will take over art, but I think it's opening up vast new marketplaces and ways for different creativity to thrive, right? So that is huge. At the same time, I'll tell you that now that I collect digital art, I'm collecting much more physical art as well, because it just opens up your mind to different things. So I bought this little oil painting of, it's the coolest little painting. It's those little silica packets that come in your food. Someone oil painted one of those on this little 4x4 wood board. It was too beautiful, so I bought it, right? It's just, I think that it's all about exposing people to art, and then you just learn to digest it in different ways. And I think that if I did it,
Banksy US style kind of a thing, you know, just come up with some random.
It was, and I'll tell you, I own a lot of NFTs, like, and I've been collecting things, and people often ask me like, what's my style, or what do I gravitate towards? And it's always been the same answer, is I don't know what I want to collect until I see it. And there are so many things. I bought a piece about a month ago by a tandem called Yoga Sutra. And there are these people doing performance art video pieces that had sacred geometry encoded into the movements. Would I ever think of buying that? I don't even know. No, but I saw it on video and I knew I had to own it. And that to me is what NFTs really open up, is it allows people to pick for themselves what they want to collect And there's so many. You could be a PFP portrait project. If you love those, buy it. Great. If you like abstract art, buy it. I think it's, like others were talking about here, it's the younger generation wants to own things, and we are so heavily digital based that, and a lot of us, say you live in an apartment, you might have a room for 2 things on your wall, right? So how much collecting can you really do? But if you're collecting digitally, you don't have to worry about the space involved. So
that's a good point. Yeah.
There's so, and we're talking about we're talking about the metaverse, right? That's the theme of this thing. I'm going to make you all pull yourself out of today's equation. Think about in 5 years from now, okay? The metaverse is going to take over, right? It's going to be an opportunity. You don't have to, but things are going to be happening there. You're going to have an apartment in the metaverse, right? A man cave, if you will, or woman cave. And it's not, no sexual, it doesn't matter. Everybody is.
I don't want my man cave to be in the metaverse.
Hey, I will tell you,
if I've got my man cave, I want you to come to my man cave. We have a few beers, have a jolly good time. Well,
and okay, so here's where I'm going. Okay, so what I'm doing now as an artist is I'm projecting into the future, and I'm making VR 3D NFTs, like sculptures. Okay, so in the future, when you have people in your metaverse man cave, which sounds ludicrous maybe, but I've been there and it's fun. Now I'm able to sell an NFT that people can walk around in VR and experience art at, I call it digi-physical, where it's digital, but it seems real. So I think we're blurring the lines between the physical and metaverse world, and it's going to come a lot quicker than we even think. I mean, I imagine in the future there will be cities that you will buy an apartment in with communities, and there will be hubs. There will be an art district. There will be like a weed district. There will be fashion district. All these clumps of people will congregate together, and they will form community, just like we're talking about here. And there will be virtual art walks, right? It won't just be like in my little town. I have to hope that somebody walks by my booth at the exact right time to meet. Like the chances of these things are very hard to do. In the metaverse, it's 24/7 all the time. And we're going to get to a place where you can have a storefront at all times, where you can share these things. And that is truly revolutionary.
So if I'm getting you correctly, and I think it's kind of in line to our vision from Connect.Club perspective and, the metaverse perspective. The metaverse isn't just a gaming platform. It shouldn't be just about collectibles. I think metaverse is how we're going to essentially interact with the content on the internet, but better yet is how we interact with our communities. Did I get this right? Do you support this vision?
Yep. It's and I've been talking to other people who are different forward thinking, and the more I think about the metaverse, even as it most kind of is, there are benefits and ways that you can engage in the metaverse that tie into the real world. So imagine, okay, you're in the metaverse and there's a Pizza Hut booth, a kiosk across the way. You walk over the Pizza Hut kiosk and you click a button and it delivers to your house in the real world, right? So that starts to really change the use case for business in the metaverse. It's not just selling a digital pizza slice. It's having active, like food jets or whatever you want to talk about, delivering real products to you. Like, let that one soak in, because that goes real deep. And I think that we are just scratching the surface.
Look, I was trying to soak in the concept, which was at 5 o'clock in the morning my time. The guys were talking about love in the metaverse. So that was a bit hard to soak in. But listen, we've got somebody on the stage right now. Is it Ra? What's your question?
Yes, I wanted to thank you. It's been amazing. My name is Reza, and I wanted to ask you about...
sorry to interrupt, but as soon as this finished, I think you should fill up your profile and maybe add the photo
Yes, I just joined
JPEG.
actually. Yes.
No worries,
yes.
no worries.
I joined.
No,
Yeah.
it's understandable.
Cool.
But do that.
Yes,
Tell us.
absolutely. I will do that. I wanted to ask you about one fact that I have encountered quite a few times because I started to basically buy a lot of arts, basically as investments a few years back. And through that, I got to meet a lot of artists across the world. And a lot of these artists, they don't have access to a market where they can sell their basic art pieces. And I thought of this basically as an opportunity to start like a store or somewhere where I can coin their arts and help them basically make some money and also help myself make some money. So I wanted to ask you guys, if I were to start something like that, like, think of it as an agency that knows a lot of artists and then wants to coin their artworks and sell it essentially as an NFT. What kind of tools are going to be available to somebody like me for achieving something like that?
Who wants to take that? Andy?
Well, there are tools. I think maybe Coldy probably would be someone who thinks that the artist should be controlling their own contract and their own process for minting. But I think there are tools, and I think this will be more something that actually will happen, where people help onboard people into the NFT space. I'm sure it already happens. I'm sure there already are some agencies or some, but an artist can tend to go to a platform and use the smart contract on the platform and mint their art directly. So like I think one of the things of kind of the current blockchain crypto ethos has been kind of this your keys, your tokens, right? So the idea is being that there's an attitude that encourages people to have kind of self-custody with anything that are to do with their crypto. But yeah, like I agree. Like I think we are already kind of seeing it somewhat with some of these profile picture projects like Bored Apes having intermediaries buy the tokens for celebrities, and then the celebrities can walk around with them if they want. And so like there already is kind of this bridging class, but I think in general the ethos is like we're trying to get rid of middlemen. And the great thing about technology and blockchain technology is that everyone can have self-custody, and that's the kind of thing I think we should be encouraging more. But like obviously if you have people that are artists, and you understand the technology, there's always opportunity to help people out, I guess, like that. However people want to organize themselves. It's really not really up to me to judge, I guess. But anyways, I'll let someone else.
Yeah, sure. The thing is that these folks are pretty good, but they don't know much about technology, and I figured that I could probably do something for them.
Like there's definitely, obviously, I think that's the kind of thing. The space is completely open, right? Mm-hmm. So however people want to figure out how to organize themselves, there's just tons of opportunity.
Gotcha. And like,
what's your background, by the way, just out of curiosity, Rajesh?
Yes, I went to school. Actually, I was in the same school as Andy was.
Yeah,
I went to school with him, and then I saw that he posted about this, and that's why I joined for the first time. Wanted to hear him after about 11 years now. It's been quite a while, or maybe longer actually. But I have studied like math and engineering. I collected arts for the past 5-6 years. I got into Ethereum and Bitcoin in 2015. And this is actually my very first exposure to like NFTs, and mostly because all these artists I know back home in Iran, I was born there, and like they're pretty good. They don't have access to like anything, like, I mean, they're amazing, but they can't sell. They don't have access to the rest of the world. And I thought I could do something for them. That's the idea.
Okay. I am dying to ask because Andy always had that afro on his head when he was in school. I was
I can't remember if I had it back then.
I don't know. Yeah.
No, I don't remember if you had an
It was a long
afro.
time. Would have been 2008. That's funny. Yeah, I hope you're doing well.
Well,
Yeah, yes, I'm
you're
doing very
talking
well,
about tokenization. I think Pierre Etienne knows a few things about tokenizing activities. Huh?
Exactly.
Yeah, there's a sort of like a fake idea that if you work on NFT, it's always do it yourself, and it's not true because some people can manage the technology, but a lot of artists and creators, I think they gain to work with producers, agents, editors, and I don't think all these jobs will disappear. They will just change. And as I said earlier, working on NFTs is not only about technology; it's also about building communities. And it might not be sometimes a good idea just to launch and work as an artist, just be by yourself on the NFT world. So this is why we need to build like a studio or agent to promote and help artists be successful in the NFT world.
Yeah.
And I also like what Cody said. I think it's also we shouldn't really caricature the NFT world as 100% digital or 100% virtual. A lot of what we are doing and what everybody is doing is really social. We're meeting people and buying digital art make you buy more physical art. And the more you buy art, the more you want to see art, the more you want to see people. So this is what is really exciting about all this NFT world. It's really opening your eyes, and whether you live in a small place or a huge place, they can download
it's minting something on Tezos, very low barrier of entry, or finding a group on Twitter, just dip your toes in there and see if it's something you like, because it's still so very early, and you can pick I have a piece, it's called Choose Your Own Adventure. And I think this is the situation where no matter what you're into, find a way in a group who's into what you're doing and see if that fits. Because the worst case is you realize it's not for you. Best case is it can change your life.
Coldy, can I just say something? Okay.
Yep.
I spoke to this lad over in Bay Area. I think you're in the Bay Area as well, right?
Yeah, I'm near there.
Are you close to the Silicon Valley or somewhere?
Yeah, I'm actually a little north, but I'm hop and skip.
Okay, so he's in Silicon Valley. He's a young lad, 17-year-old, wants to get into the crypto space. Got bullied massively, by his peers because it's not green and all that malarkey. But he's kind of being brave. And I've spoken to also Japanese artists who got an incredible artwork. But the barriers to market for them is very simply is the language barrier. So they've got a fantastic stuff. The whole gaming industry's got heritage coming from Japan. They've got an incredible people there, but they're struggling to get into the market. They don't know what questions to ask. They don't know what directions to follow. So people like you, I think, would be, if you're supporting your community, I think this is where I would be very interested to have a further conversations with you. Obviously, I don't want to take your time from your son, from your family, but I feel they will definitely benefit from your story. If you click on my avatar, there is a second club. I'm a member of various clubs, but the second club with the pink sort of a circle, it's called Next Gen NFT Leaders. Okay, we basically want to help all the young artists, entrepreneurs, to come into the space. And what surprisingly for me, I found out recently that Polygon, Solana, Avalanche and all these things, they're now offering grants for them to kind of do activities on their chains, and consultants that are advising people what's the best fit for them is actually also milking on it, because white papers and things like that could be done now and could be supported. So definitely your views would be highly appreciated, as well as PATN, and you do a lot of stuff on the ground. And I think, Andy, you had a fantastic kind of a journey, isn't it, going from a banking system, immigration, for goodness sake. Now you're rock and rolling in the NFT space.
Yeah, very different.
Yeah. No, I really loved it, and sorry if we went a little bit over the time, but I don't know, maybe we can just summarize what is the true value of collecting. Coldy, you go first.
The true value of the true value is the intrinsic art itself, how it makes you feel, and what you put into it as a creator and what you get out of it by looking at it as a collector. Besides that, money's nice. I don't make art for money. I make art for my purpose in life. So that's it.
PATN, what's the true value?
It's connecting to something bigger than you. Just opening something bigger. So this is why it's so exciting, and once you start, you can't stop.
This is what I love about French people. They put it in eloquently and make it so sexy, right?
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Andy?
I think it's the social and the art combined. It's connected two things pretty specially. I never would have thought to ever meet all these artists that I've collected from and that I've talked to over the past year. And it's just such a different experience than going to a gallery and talking to a gallery owner about the painting, when you can just directly talk to the source.
Brilliant. Listen, I wish you a pleasant day ahead, and thank you everyone for joining us. Do join us for tomorrow's panel and the gallery session at 1. Let's continue this valuable networking in the Metaverse. Spread the word to your contacts about Connect.Club. We want to have a very selected but very valuable community here. So yeah, look forward to seeing you back. Let's stay connected.
Yeah.
Thanks, everybody.
Thank you.
Appreciate it. Let's do more. Peace.
Bye bye.
Cheers. Let's
Thank
do
you.
it. Yeah.